Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome all our friends of the media to the ECOWAS Commission this morning, and to thank you for honoring our invitation despite the short notice. Let me first apologize for not being able to respond to your numerous requests for interviews until now. As you all know, it has been a very demanding period in relations to the current political development in our community. We thank you most sincerely for your reporting of the unfortunate developments in the region. Let me acknowledge from the onset that the media has been substantially factual and careful in their reports. But we are worried by the creeping hysteria that seems to have overtaken some of the stories, which tend to suggest that ECOWAS is beating the drums of war. I will urge you to continue to exercise restraint in your reporting as we continue our engagement with the military administration in Niger towards the amicable resolution of this unfortunate situation. This press conference has been convened as part of our efforts to engage with members of the Fourth Estate, to set the record straight, and hopefully provide the foundation for future engagement with the media. We would like to use this opportunity to reassure the good people of Niger that our major concern is for their welfare as we work assiduously to restore civilian rule and political stability in the country, and indeed in other ECOWAS member countries currently under transition. This we hope to do in the spirit of solidarity and collective security, which is at the heart of our regional agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts of the matter are straightforward enough. On July 26, 2023, a group of soldiers in the Republic of Niger decided to hold the democratically elected president of Niger, His Excellency Mohamed Bazoum, hostage. While the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government was in the process of finding a peaceful resolution to the impasse, the situation degenerated into an attempted coup, and matters escalated from there. The first mission sent by the chair of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State on the 26th of July did not receive much response. The second mission, led by His Excellency General Abdusalam Abubakar and His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, had its meetings at the airport in Niger. A joint mission involving the African Union, the United Nations, and ECOWAS was aborted. I am glad to report that the most recent mission was received by the President of the CNSP, the Prime Minister, and members of the CNSP. The mission also saw President Bazoum. Ladies and gentlemen, coup d'etat is a tragedy for our region, especially our regional efforts at consolidating democracy after the political crisis of the 1990s, exemplified by the civil war in Liberia and Sierra Leone. Through collective efforts of our community, the region was stabilized and the foundation for democracy and the rule of law restored. Indeed, until about 3 years ago, all leaders in the ECOWAS region were democratically elected. Unfortunately, the ill winds of Coup started blowing again recently, and the region has experienced 3 successful coups and several failed coup d'etats. The current development in the Republic of Niger adds to the list of attempted coup d'etats in the region. So you can understand why the heads of state and government have decided that this is one coup too many, and resolved that it was time to end the contagion. The situation in the Republic of Niger is particularly unfortunate, as it comes at a time the country is doing comparatively well in terms of security and economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the ECOWAS security architecture, which has informed other security arrangements within and outside the region, is anchored on a number of instruments. These include the 1991 ECOWAS Declaration of Political Principles, the revised ECOWAS Treaty of 1993, the 1999 ECOWAS Protocol relating to the mechanism for conflict prevention, management, resolution, peacekeeping, and security, as well as the 2001 Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. The deployment of the ECOWAS standby force is provided for in the 1999 mechanism. Specifically, Article 25 expressly stipulates the conditions for the deployment of such a force. Among other conditions, the article provides that the force can be deployed in the event of an overthrow or an attempted overthrow of a democratically elected government. Furthermore, the Supplementary Act of 2012 also provides for sanctions to be invoked against members that fail to honor their obligations within the community. It also provides for the use of legitimate force in the restoration of constitutional order. The Republic of Niger is a signatory to all these regional instruments. Therefore, those who challenge the legality of the decision of ECOWAS heads of state and government need to do more research. In taking its decision of 30th July and 10th August, the authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government was only activating these provisions. Unfortunately, this decision has been taken out of context and repeatedly misrepresented in the media as a declaration of war against the Republic of Niger or a planned invasion of the country. It is even tragic that some influential persons in the community have promoted this narrative, which has been hyped in the social media as the gospel truth. These persons have conveniently ignored the strenuous efforts of the community to engage with the military authority in Niger to reverse the attempted coup. For the avoidance of doubt, let me state unequivocally that ECOWAS has neither declared war on the people of Niger, May I repeat this? ECOWAS has neither declared war on the people of Niger, nor is there a plan, as it is being purported, to invade the country. The ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has only activated a full-scale application of sanctions, which include the use of legitimate force to restore constitutional order. In the interim, the region is employing other elements of its instruments and engaging with the military authorities, as can be attested to by the several missions that have been fielded to the country and our joint efforts with our partners, including the African Union and the United Nations. We are hopeful that these diplomatic efforts will yield the desired outcome and make it unnecessary for the deployment of the force. Nonetheless, preparations continue towards making the force ready for deployment. Consequently, the technical arms of the decision-making organs, which include the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff, have also been directed to prepare the community enforcement mechanism in case it becomes compelling to deploy the force. Friends of the press, we believe that even now it is not too late for the military authorities in Niger to reconsider their action and listen to the voice of reason, as the regional leaders will not condone coup d'etat. ECOWAS also wishes to remind them of their responsibility for the security and safety of President Bazoum, members of his family, and government. At this juncture, let me reiterate that the real issue is the determination of the community to halt the spiral of coup d'etats in the region. We are all brothers, irrespective of the artificial borders, but the rule of law has to be upheld. The unconstitutional action of the military in Niger has plunged the people of Niger into serious socio-economic crisis. In other words, Nigerians are suffering today because a section of the military, which should be focused on its constitutional role, decided to hijack the political institution and subvert democracy. The truth is, neither Niger nor the West African sub-region needs such a major distraction at this time, and we all like to see the defense and security forces of Niger Republic to return immediately to their constitutional role and restore constitutional order. We all will recall that the Niger military have performed credibly as exemplified in their fight against terrorism and their sterling performance in the multinational joint task force in the Lake Chad Basin area and in the areas within the Liptako-Gourma region. The decision of the heads of state and government to activate the clause providing for the application of legitimate force in Niger was reached only after due consideration of how political dialogue alone has, unfortunately, failed to deter coup plotters in the region. The precedents in Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso are unsettling and underline the reason why the community was obliged to take such a hard but legitimate stance, backed by ECOWAS community law, which I must stress again was subscribed to by all the member states, including the Republic of Niger. The actions of the community have been guided by a recognition of the community's obligation within the context of the spirit of solidarity and collective responsibility that underlines the ECOWAS integration arrangements. We recognize the Republic of Niger as an important member of the ECOWAS family, and it remains so to date. The Republic of Niger is not a target for destruction by ECOWAS. And ECOWAS will never allow the people of Niger to suffer in the hands of enemies within or without. ECOWAS is deeply concerned about the well-being of the people and the country. Historically, military administrations have not demonstrated any capacity to better deal with complex political, social, and security challenges. The security situation in the countries under military government have rather deteriorated as national territories are being lost to terrorists under their administration, even though this has become the main justification for their intervention. In most cases, the rights and freedoms of the citizens are also inevitably curtailed, with arbitrary arrests, detentions, and use of excessive force becoming the order of the day. The social cohesion in these countries is weakening by the day, and it will take years to restore. We do not want this to happen in the Republic of Niger. In conclusion, let me reiterate that fifth columnists have unfortunately been misrepresenting our decisions and actions, deriding regional authorities as being teleguided by foreign powers with nefarious intentions. Let me remind everyone that ECOWAS is a community of rules and regulations, norms and values. These principles, which have been accumulated over the 48 years of its existence, and they underpin its actions. These principles have been accumulated over 48 years of ECOWAS's existence, and they underpin the community's actions. It is undeniable that these admirable principles have made the region an exemplar among regional economic communities within and outside Africa, and many look up to it for inspiration. We are therefore not under the dictate of any extra-regional power or interests. Our interest is rather the protection of the rights of our people, with the objective of building a rule-based community and fostering peace and prosperity for all in our region. So while we are determined to bend over backwards to accommodate diplomatic efforts, we are not unaware of the true intention of some of the members of the military leadership. At first, they snubbed our diplomatic efforts, but recently began to show signs of being amenable, only for them to take a path which we consider to be dangerous, by putting in place a government and declaring a transition timetable which is unacceptable to ECOWAS. Distinguished members of the press, let me reiterate that the decision of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, which is currently chaired by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the Republic of Nigeria, is to work for the peaceful restoration of civilian rule in the Republic of Niger without any delay, and to use all the instruments at the disposal of ECOWAS towards the attainment of this goal. As for the other countries in transition, namely Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, ECOWAS will continue to support their transition process as directed by the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. We will continue to support their fight against terrorism to ensure the restoration of democracy, peace, and security in our community. We will also continue to work with them on the agreed transition timetables. Ladies and gentlemen, may I once again thank you all for honoring our invitation, and I hope that you will continue to remain our partners in progress as we navigate these difficult times in our region. I'll be most honored to entertain some questions from you. I thank you for your attention. Nowhere has ECOWAS indicated that at the end of the 7-day deadline, military force will be the only option. Nowhere. If you look at the decision says the authority of heads of state and government will employ all measures to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. And these measures may include the use of force. I invite all colleagues to have a relook at the decision as well as the communique. So when we say the decision of heads of state and government has been taken out of context, this is what we refer to. We say all measures which may include the use of force, and now only the use of force was extracted and then blown out. So this is why we are saying it is taken out of proportion. The use of force is still on the table as provided for by ECOWAS instruments. These instruments are old instruments, as you will see, as you have heard me say. They date as far back as the 2000s, the 1990s, and these instruments have been subscribed to by all ECOWAS member states, including the Republic of Niger. So if we have no problem with the instruments, we should not have any problem with the implementation of the instruments. The fact that all of us can travel around in West Africa without visas, we can trade without tariffs, are part of our instruments that our community has taken, just like they have taken this particular instrument. And I think I have listed about 5 or 4 of them. And they don't date today. They date as far back as 12 years ago or even older. So their implementation is what the heads of state have decided on now. And the measures provided for in those instruments include the use of force. So it is very much on the table, as are other measures that we are working on. Refugees and displaced persons, these are really the victims of the unconstitutional action that some members of the military have decided to take in Niger. So we should all work to ensure that the actions that they have taken do not impact on the ordinary people, let alone on the refugees and displaced persons. Why is ECOWAS more stringent against Niger? No, ECOWAS is not more stringent against Niger. ECOWAS has decided to put a stop to the spate of coup d'etats that we have been witnessing in the sub-region. And they have therefore decided to implement the instruments that are already in existence and to which all member states have subscribed. I think I've answered the TVC's second question regarding the use of force. The use of force, again I repeat, is a measure, one of the measures provided for by the community instruments. And the heads of state have indicated that they will use all measures. All measures. And regarding the refugees and displaced persons and vulnerable groups in general, including ordinary brothers and sisters of Niger, whatever the community is doing, we are doing it for the ordinary brothers and sisters in Niger who have no contribution whatsoever to this. It is ECOWAS's role to serve and work for the ordinary members of the community. Nigerians remain our brothers and sisters, and whatever is being done, it is being done in their interest. So nobody should make any mistake about that. Nothing is being done against the interests of the people of Niger. The AFP 3-year not acceptable, what will be acceptable? The heads of state have decided and have demanded the restoration of constitutional order immediately. That is the decision of heads of state. Regarding resistance to some of the actions, well, we take note. As for the troop contributing countries, that information will be made available in due course when the need for it arises. The VOA House of Service, people seem to support the military takeover. I don't know what measure one can use to determine the support for a course of action. I think we need to have a level playing field first to determine the true support that a particular course of action enjoys. And the second question, what is ECOWAS's stance? ECOWAS's stance remains the immediate restoration of constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. And whatever we are doing, we want to serve the people of Niger. The people of Niger remain part and parcel of the ECOWAS space and the ECOWAS community. And we hope we can continue to serve them through the integration efforts that ECOWAS is promoting. ECOWAS stands for the restoration of constitutional order in all member countries, especially in the Republic of Niger, and through peaceful means. But if peaceful means fail, ECOWAS cannot just fold its hands. All measures will be taken, as the heads of state as the authority of heads of state have decided. Again, this is about ECOWAS implementing the community's instruments. It is not about ECOWAS being against the people of Niger. We are in full support of the people of Niger. We remain on the side of the people of Niger. We just think it is fair for them to enjoy democracy, freedom that we are all enjoying elsewhere. The people of Niger deserve to be able to express themselves freely. The people of Niger deserve to move freely within the continent, within the country, within the region. So whatever ECOWAS is doing, it is being done in the interest of the people of Niger and the people of the ECOWAS region. When we see that diplomacy is not working, that decision will be taken. And I think the region and the leaders of the region would know when they have come to a stage where no progress can be expected. The standby force is provided for by our instruments, and their nature depends on the task at hand. As you know, the mission in the Gambia, in Guinea-Bissau, are all part of the standby force. So their size is determined by the assignment at hand. Countries contributing, all ECOWAS member states have subscribed to the various instruments, and when the time comes, it will be clear as to which countries are contributing. But what I'm saying is the decision taken is a unanimous decision. And it is an instrument that is in force across the region. So it is not like one country or two countries against two or three countries. No, it is a collective decision. Anything which is being proposed is being done on behalf of the region, in the name of the region, and a decision taken collectively by the heads of state. As you know, the authority of heads of state is under the chairmanship of His Excellency President Tinubu since July. Before that, the chairmanship was under the President of Guinea-Bissau. Before that, it was the President of Ghana. So it is a rotating chairmanship. So this is a regional position. Now, regarding the mercenaries, let me say this. ECOWAS and the African continent as a whole stand against the use of private military contractors on the continent. And again, we have continental instruments against the use of private military contractors on the continent.
Pour la France 24, la position de la CEDEAO reste claire. Je crois que la position, c'est la restauration de l'ordre constitutionnel au Niger, immédiatement. C'est la position de la CEDEAO. Rien n'a changé depuis lors.
AIC, why has ECOWAS backed out of its ultimatum? Again, I want to appeal that we look at the communique again. We re-examine the communique. Nowhere has it been indicated in the communique that at the end of the 1 week period, the military will be deployed. Nowhere. It says ECOWAS will continue to employ all measures to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger, and those measures may include the use of force. So our problem is people just focus on few things. 7 days, use of force. So it means at the end of 7 days, we must see the use of force. That is not what the heads of state have agreed on. They said all measures, including the use of force, and all measures are on the table. Again, I want to be very clear. There was no date indicated as to the use of force, but use of force remains on the table. We should be clear there. And if there is any need, we will be glad to circulate the communique again for everybody to have a re-look and understand exactly the community's position. Now, another thing, no plan to invade. ECOWAS wants to disabuse this word invade, invasion. We don't want people to be confused. The deployment of the standby force is not an invasion. This is what we want to really ask you to help people understand. It is not an invasion. It is a deployment to restore constitutional order, done on the basis of community laws to which Niger has subscribed. So words like invasion, declaration of war should really be removed from our lexicons because they misrepresent the facts. The deployment of the standby force to restore constitutional order is part of the implementation of an instrument that exists that has existed for several years. The heads of state, their decision is the following: restoration of constitutional order, the liberation of the president, and his reinstatement. That is the decision of the authority of ECOWAS heads of state. We're putting together a mechanism that will facilitate such regular engagement. Sometimes it is difficult to respond positively to your individual invitations for interviews, but we do hope that such regular engagement will enable us to strengthen our partnership and have the people better informed. I thank you for your presence, and we wish you all the best for the weekend.